How are you doing? I'm going to have another look at my electric heat treating oven. When did I make it? 2 years ago-ish, probably. It's been absolutely amazing, don't get me wrong. The only thing that really bugs me with it is the time it takes to get to temperature. 800 degrees, not so bad. 40 minutes-ish, something like that. 45 minutes it'll get to 800. 1000 degrees, 1100 degrees, it's 2 hours. And I don't heat treat very much stainless steel, but every now and then I do. And when you want it to get up to 1100, 1050, whatever temperature it is, it just takes forever to get there. So it got me thinking. I built that oven and it's a fairly big interior. The elements in it are 1.2mm A1 canthal wire, and there's approximately 25 meters. So I went online and I went on to Calculator to see how I could ramp up the temperature, or get the temperature up quicker, should I say, hopefully. And it meant buying some new wire and making a new coil. Now I was going to completely build a smaller heat treating oven, and then you just use the existing oven for tempering, but kind of got me thinking, well, that heat treat oven is quite a good specification regards insulation and everything, and it would be a real shame just to waste that on tempering, because a tempering oven, you're only up to 250 degrees, something like that, and you don't need that much insulation on it. So I thought, well, is there a way of utilising that existing oven? And anyway, I thought I'll give it a try, and this is what I've come up with. Well, I've decided on this as a fix, and those are the specs for the coil. It's 1.4mm A1 canthal. I cut 25 meters off the roll and I wound it around a 12mm rod to give me 1 meter of coil. So I've got a 1 meter coil. I'm going to stretch that to 2 meters to fit into the elements. And the specs to this, as near as I can gather, are it's 18 ohms, which is around 3000 watts, and it'll be pulling 12 point something 13 amps. So I don't know, I think my supply will cope with this. It's running on a 20 amp fuse supply, so it should be alright on that respect, and I certainly don't think it'll draw as much or more power than my plasma cutter. So that's the coil I've wound. It's quite a big chunky coil, and that I'm going to stretch out. So to make the elements, all it's taken is 4 fire bricks, literally 4 fire bricks to do this, and they were cut like so, just cut in half and then cut down in length, 2 bricks for each side. Now I've jointed them and I've grooved out to take these bigger coils. Like the other oven, the coils will sit in kind of little rounded bottoms so that they shouldn't crawl out of the ceramic, but if they do, I'll put some staples on. So let's go and see how this lot all fits into the oven. I had thought about leaving the elements in this, but I don't think I will. My reasoning being that if I don't like this, and there's some kind of problem with the power supply, and I'll simply take this out and I will put the old oven back in place. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm not going to bother doing anything more than that for the moment, and put the elements in. But I've got to get access to the back to drill a couple more holes through, and I've also got to cut a little channel at the back for the element to cross over. I had thought about possibly pushing a little piece in there in the bottom so that the element can just travel across it, and I might actually just do that rather than messing with the back of the oven. But in any case, I've still got to drill a couple of holes in the back to take the wires for the elements. So I'm going to take the old elements out for now, because I can reuse them in my new tempering oven. And like I say, if there's a problem, then I can just simply put them back in, because they come in and out pretty easy. These, they're not fixed in with any staples, nothing. They literally just sit in those little channels. Let's just try and get one out there, like that, simple as that. And that's the elements out. So I'm going to pull them through, take the back off, get these new holes drilled for the elements. And I'm also changing the thermocouple, because I've got another thermocouple for this, a new one. And I'm going to put that one in from the top, so that the end of the thermocouple is directly in the centre of the oven, because I think that'll just give me a better reading on the overall on the oven temperature. And they're the old elements, and they still look in really good condition, them as well. But that's a 1.2mm A1 canthal wire, so that can be used again. So without any planning or forethought, these new holes for the elements are literally 30mm away from them. I guess I could, because that's kind of where the new insert comes up to, there, like that. And I guess I could kind of jiggle the wire in, but it's you know, we'll just put in a couple of new holes in. The old holes are covered up by the new inserts. So that little bit of just sharpened up silver steel should go through there, no problem. Right, let's get me 2 meters. I've had to cut some off. I pulled it that too much, and it wouldn't compress enough. It's actually a bit more. It was actually about 3 inches. I couldn't really compress it anymore, because from what I've read, the coils need to be 2 to 3mm apart, and they are literally just that. So we've lost about 6 inches, but it's still good. We ain't got a problem. I'm going to get it fitted now, and where it crosses the back on the top, I've just made up that little block there. Cement's not quite set yet, which it will set when the oven gets in place. So I'm just going to push that across the back, and that's what the coil's going to sit in. It'll also help keep them 2 sides pushed that way. Let's get this in. Okay guys, I've got the elements in and connected up. I've put the new thermocouple in, and that sticks down exactly halfway into the oven. I've put it about a little more than a foot back from the front of the oven, and it drops right into the centre, so it should give me a good idea of temperature where it is. And all that's left really is to turn it on and try it. I have put 4 staples in this, at the top, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. It may need more in, I don't know, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to run it up and I'm going to try it, see what happens. I'll know from the speed at which the temperature goes up how good it is. So let's focus in on that and get it turned on. and it's away. I did just turn the elements on briefly to make sure they were working. The door wasn't on then. I guess that's why it was reading 35 degrees. So there's more power going to this oven now. So I don't know whether the oven will heat up faster. I don't know what'll happen really. Oh yeah, it's quicker. I know that, it is quicker. I haven't put my this little heat seal that fitted exactly into the opening, just to stop a bit of the heat escaping from the front. I can feel a bit of heat there now, so it's probably a slight bit of heat escaping. I just need to cut that down really and sit it back in. But what I've also going to do is it does work. I mean, there's no heat escapes from the oven when that's in, but I'm also going to fit one of those asbestos rope seals, not asbestos are they, like a ceramic rope seal around on the inside of the oven, so it's a good tight, airtight seal when the door's closed. Yeah, that is ramping up a lot quicker than the old Element, definitely. I'll turn it off. Where are we now? 3 minutes. We'll see how long it takes to get to 800. Really pleased with this, guys. That's where we are at 9 minutes. 624 degrees. There we go, guys. We are at 16 minutes. It's starting reducing power now because it's nearly at target, so I expect it to take it a minute or two to get up to 800. I am very, very happy with that. 16 minutes as opposed to the other Elements, which would take around 45-50 minutes to get to that temperature. So that's quite a big difference. Yeah, I am very pleased with that. To give you an idea of the background temperature in here, it is 17 degrees on the bench, the vise, 17 degrees, the oven, 17 degrees, top of the oven, 17 degrees. Everything is at room temperature. There's no heat escaping from the oven, which is absolutely brilliant. It's not. I've not actually run an auto tune on this yet. So I need to run an auto tune so it can tune itself, because it's a new thermocouple in it. Now, if I can remember which button to press, is it that one? Anyway, let's have a look in the oven. That looks okay, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks fine. Happy days. Bit of a sad day today. We're down to 4 fish. A lot of these fish are very old. Actually, the oldest fish in here is the little one at the back. That's over 30 years old. It's possibly 35, 36 years old, and it's the smallest fish in the pond. But yeah, we've had one die overnight, and it was actually my favourite fish. So I'm now down to 4. Originally I had maybe 20 in this pond, but over the years I kind of lose one every year now because they're getting to the age they are. That's the oldest one, about 35, 36 years old. Anyway, this is what happened overnight. Yeah, I lost this beautiful girl overnight. I don't know why. She's not really been feeding the last couple of days, and I found her on the bottom this morning. So what length is she? 25 inches long. She's a good weight as well. Beautiful fish, like a leather carp. Just a few scales on her back. Again, I don't know how old she is. I was given this fish when she was probably about that sort of size, something like that. So I've had her about at least 10 years. But it's the way it goes with fish, I'm afraid. There's no obvious signs or marks on her, really. Yeah, it's a shame. But heat treat oven done. I'm pleased with that modification, I really am. It was late last night when I finished and tested that, as you can see in the video, but I couldn't figure out which of the buttons to press for the auto tune. I found the manual, I sussed it out, I ran an auto tune this morning. I set it at a typical tempering temperature at 250 centigrade and run the auto tune. I left it for 2 hours, I come back, it was bang on 250 degrees, so I was made up. Brilliant. I've got to make another oven for a buddy, Pierce Machine Shop. Alan asked me to make him a heat treating oven, so it was also kind of a way of seeing, you know, what I can do with the coils. So I know Alan is probably never going to get much above 800 because I think he'll only be really heat treating carbon steels. So we can put him a shorter coil in, and it'll get him up to temperature pretty quick. And these are the dangers of heat treating a very thin blade. Putting a thumb ramp in and having the thumb ramp maybe a tad too sharp. I usually round the bottoms out on these, and I got a bit blasé and I didn't, and if you can see there, it's cracked. So which is a shame, because you know it's a really nice blade. That it's for a folder I'm making, but I don't trust that blade, so I'm gonna have to make another one. I've actually already made the blade, and that's it. I've just done a little feather. You can see there. Yeah, I've just done that little feather for it. I'm actually going to have to put this back in the forge and just pull it out there in the belly of the knife. Just kind of draw it down a bit, because I haven't just quite got enough thickness there. I've pulled it out too long and not broad enough. There's one I've just done. It's a boning knife for a friend of mine in a really high layer count ladder pattern with a carbon core, and he wanted that's how sharp that one is, guys. It is absolutely lethal. I mean it, lethal. Just touch it and you cut. But just get a plaster on that. So this is getting a basket weave pattern, and I'm crossing the boundary where the brass layer is with the basket weave, and I'm going to ink the white part, the antler, black, and I'm going to ink the buffalo horn white. So it should look quite nice. That it's an Elm Burl 900 layer ladder, which I'll just pull it off and show you. Very high layer ladder, as I say, very subtle. Again, a lovely bit of chatoyance on that. That's a nice blade. So that's my dog bushcraft knife, that blade. Shame about my old fish. I found one of the scales just up the back end near her tail. There was one little scale on the back there. I took that off, I put it under the microscope. As near as I can gather, she's about 19 years old, so she's not a bad age. She's not the oldest fish I've had. My oldest one was a Shargoy, and he was Charlie, we called him. He was 35 when he died. I've had one slightly older than that. I think it was 37, and that was more of a common koi, very common colour koi, like a bronzy colour. But yeah, down to 4. When I get down to 3, I think I'll be looking for someone to take them fish on, because I don't really want to buy any more fish. I may turn that pond into a jacuzzi. I don't know. Okay guys, I'll be back very, very soon, because I'm doing a video. It's more for my patrons. It's a patron draw. I'm making some little chip carving knives to give away on my patrons channel, to give away from my patrons. But I'm going to do a video on it anyway, showing you how to make these little carving knives. I'll be making 3 or 4, which will be patron giveaways, and I'll be doing a bit of whittling with them just to show you what you can do. Okay, see you soon. Bye for now.